Hi everyone, my name is Finn. I'm a project manager for Origin Housing Association. I've been with Origin for about 2 years now, and I've been involved in the project I'm just about to show you for about the last year or so. Basically today I'm here to introduce you to 51 Bridge Road East in Welwyn Garden City, which is also known as Maple Mews, which is mainly the marketing name. But what we thought we'd do today is to give you a video tour both internally and externally of the block. So you can see, starting here with the outside of Block A, which is our shared ownership block. Each flat has a combination boiler. In the case of this project, it's a Logitech combi boiler. Usually there aren't many problems at all with these boilers. We use them quite often across many of our projects. However, you may find sometimes an error code will come up here. If there is a problem, before calling anyone about it, we recommend that you check your boiler manual, which is in your home user guide, and reference what the error code is, and that will give you a clue what's wrong. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with the boiler, but the pressure can drop. You'll notice here at the moment, if you can see, that this arrow here should be between 1 to 1.5 bars. If this arrow drops below 1, it's quite likely that your boiler needs repressurising. This is actually a fairly simple thing you can do yourself and will avoid a plumber or an engineer needing to come out. Essentially, underneath the boiler here, you'll see this valve here, and there's another one here. You just need to adjust these valves until this gauge goes back to between 1 and 1.5. You'll then have the pressure you need to make the boiler work again. Obviously, anything else, and there is an error, then it could be something else, but for most problems that's usually a common cause. As well as the thermostats in some of the rooms, you'll also notice that not all of the radiators have a valve here that can be adjusted. This one's currently off, but obviously you can put it up to maximum to regulate the temperature of that individual radiator. You'll notice that within each flat there are 2 thermostats which essentially control the temperature and the settings for the heating system. It's basically split into zones. There's one in the lounge which covers the living areas, and another one that covers bedrooms and hall areas. Within the thermostat, you'll notice there's some basic buttons here that literally just control the temperature up and down, and a little indicator here will tell you what the temperature of this room is. Within your home user guide, there's some further settings that explain how to program it for different days of the week, holidays, things like that, weekends, differentiates between weekend and weekdays if you wanted to do that. You'll notice that each unit has a consumer unit for the electrics. If anything was to trip in your property, you can see along the bottom here, it's all neatly labelled: smoke alarm lighting, kitchen lighting, boiler, oven, cooker, etc. If anything is to trip, please make sure that the switch that's gone is in the up position, like you see here. They should all be facing upwards, and you'll notice the main trip switch is red, which is clearly marked here. Further details on the consumer unit can be found in your home user guide. Okay, within each unit you'll notice that we've got something called an MVHR unit, which stands for Mechanically Ventilated Heat Recovery Unit. And basically what this system does, it's quite clever, it purifies the air from outside via a filter, so that each flat's got really clean air, but it also makes your property more energy efficient as it makes the best use of the existing heat within the building. You'll notice that on each of these units it's telling us that it's A-rated, which is great. There's also a QR code on here that you can scan, which contains information from the manufacturer. There is, within your home user guide, some more detailed information on this system. If you could please read that will explain it in more detail. In terms of maintenance, this system's pretty much maintenance free from the customer's perspective. All you need to do is periodically, every 6 months to 12 months, is just clean the filters, which can be removed here. Again, the instructions are in your manual. Keep those clean. A lot of customers worry that the system is very quiet. It's essentially a silent system. So there's no noise coming from it, so don't think if it's not working. And it's the same with the fans in the ceiling. They're deliberately designed to be quiet. So that's the MVHR unit, and you'll see that in the cupboard in each flat. You'll notice that as part of the NVHR system, within all the rooms within the flat, there's inlet and outlet valves. These aren't fans, they're basically valves to allow the system to purify the air, whether it's either going in or out. And so you'll see these in all the rooms. In the cupboard, just below the consumer unit, every plot has these boxes here. There's one here, a couple of plug sockets, phone connection, and another socket here. This is basically a hyper-optic box for broadband. Hyper-optic is a sort of newer system that's in certain parts of the country that's an alternative and a better option than BT. The benefit with hyper-optic is that you can see the router is pre-installed in the flat. So essentially, all your broadband infrastructure is ready to go. All you would need to do is contact hyper-optic. We've left you details in your resident home user guide. You can also find information on them on the internet. Select an appropriate broadband package, and hyper-optic can essentially get you connected quite quickly. As I said before, much better than BT, as an engineer doesn't need to come out to site to connect the internet, and there's obviously no charge for that engineer visit as the infrastructure is already here. So when you look in the cupboard, you'll see this is all to do with broadband. It's also worth pointing out that although hyper-optic is probably the most practical option because the router and everything is pre-installed, as the customer you've also got the flexibility to say go to another provider like BT or Sky for internet, as the plug socket's also provided for that as well. Final thing to note within your cupboard, again below the consumer unit, is something here that's marked alarm. It's not an alarm. What this is a fuse spurt. So if you decide to basically connect an alarm to the property, obviously it's not pre-installed, but the wiring is there ready for an alarm company to come and connect it up if that's something that you wanted to do as an extra. In the living area of each flat, as well as a double socket, you'll notice what we call a media plate. Essentially, as it's a block of flats, there's a communal satellite dish up in the roof, and each flat is already wired up for Sky. There's also a connection here for FM, digital radio, and if you didn't want to subscribe to Sky, there is a connection for Freeview TV here. You'll also notice that in the bedroom, in the main bedroom, there's also another Freeview TV point. Obviously, if you did want to connect to Sky, you'd need to discuss your relatives or contract arrangements directly with Sky, but the infrastructure is already wired up for it. You'll notice that within each plot, you have a carbon monoxide detector here, and a hardwired heat and smoke detector here. The carbon monoxide unit has a built-in battery and it can't be changed. However, it's guaranteed for up to 10 years. After 10 years, it will just need replacing with a new unit. In terms of the heat and smoke detector, this is hardwired and can't be touched. The only thing that you need to do with this unit is periodically test it. We recommend every 3 to 6 months. If you just press here, you'll get a loud beep to know that the unit's working. If for any reason it isn't working, please contact us. If this unit was to accidentally go off, say for example due to cooking, you'll just need to make sure that the room is well ventilated and you open all the windows to get the heat and smoke out of the room. It's worth pointing this out because this unit can't be touched and it's hardwired. The alarm will not go off until the heat and smoke has left the room. So obviously if it's accidental from cooking, just open the windows. Obviously in the event of a fire, it will go off and you would have left the building in any event. Just a point to note, on the top floor of the block, you'll notice there's an orange panel in the communal area marked smoke control. What this panel is basically part of the fire system. So it's an AOV, which is an automatic opening vent control panel. What this does is, in the unfortunate event of a fire, this will automatically open a vent above my head that will let heat and smoke out of the building. So it's purely here as a safety measure. Origin will take full responsibility for repairing and maintaining this system, and generally residents won't need to touch it at all. If for any reason there was a fire and it didn't open automatically, the plastic guard here can be smashed and it can be manually overridden, but essentially it's very, very unlikely that would ever happen. So we would just say, yeah, please don't touch this panel, and Origin will make sure that it's serviced and maintained regularly. Thanks for your time today, everyone. I think that just leaves me to say goodbye, and obviously if there's anything that we haven't had a chance to cover on the video tour today, please get in contact with Origin, and hopefully we can answer anything that we haven't been able to pick up. Thanks very much.